I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show is Setting the Record Straight. And the reason why we may all be involved in that in one way or another is because 2 days ago we had a rather strong new moon at 16 degrees of Libra. And so the sun, the new moon, and Mercury, the planet of the mind and communication, were all in Libra, and they were well backed up from a strong trine from Mars in Aquarius. And so it simply means that this new moon in Libra signals the need to set the record straight by exposing hidden truth behind the scenes, so that we can reinforce the idea of fairness and justice. In fact, the 3 planets in Libra are sextiling 2 others in Scorpio. Libra does rule fairness and Scorpio does rule justice, so half of all the planets are only in these 2 signs. And that's where the emphasis will be this week, on setting the record straight to ensure fairness and justice. And so with the trine of 4 planets in the air signs, it simply means that there's going to be a lot of emphasis on thinking and working toward setting the record straight, or communicating in a way that can help the future, because Libra does rule the law, but Mars is in Aquarius, and Aquarius rules the future. And so there can be someone around who is arrogant, or who can be willing to mislead people a lot, or can be somewhat devious. And they instead are going to have to make a sort of a necessary adjustment, as they have to conform to some sort of legal agreement that can ensure a treaty or some sort of truce and allow for some sort of peace. So they really will have to make some sort of necessary adjustment, or it could be that they're forced to do that instead. And why is that? That is because there is a secret that has been kept behind the scenes, and it can't be kept there any longer. And the reason why is that Neptune is very strong in the sign of Pisces. It rules the sign, and Pisces rules omissions and deceptions and things behind the scenes that are hidden. But Neptune is retrograde, and it is exactly trining Venus today in Scorpio, the sign of justice, and now Venus is retrograde also. So Neptune is at 14 degrees, Venus is at 11 degrees. They're in almost perfect trine, but both retrograde. When planets go retrograde or backward on their orbit, more and more truth comes out. And that Neptune is also trining Jupiter in Scorpio. So that, as I said, is the sign that rules justice. And that simply means that a deception or an omission or a hidden plan behind the scenes will be revealed. And when that is revealed, there's going to be a need to set the record straight. And that is because fairness and justice cannot be delayed any longer. It'll have to be done. However, this is not going to sit too well with some people. And so there will be winners and losers. And the winners could gain financially right now. After all, Scorpio is a fixed financial sign, and it is being well backed up by that trine from Neptune in Pisces. But there can be losers now who may have to absorb some sort of financial setback right now. And that is because that Mars in Aquarius is actually squaring both planets in both financial signs. It's squaring Uranus in Taurus, which is another malefic planet, and it is squaring Venus and Jupiter in Scorpio. So for those people who are imposters or pretenders, when the truth really does come out, they may have to absorb some sort of financial loss. And that's the way it goes. So it is very important right now for us to realize that these winners and losers have somewhat brought it upon themselves. For instance, with Uranus in Taurus, a fixed financial sign, trining a well-placed Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, and those three planets trining the sign of Virgo, it really strengthens the practical, hardworking earth signs. And that simply means that some people who have been living up to the highest expectations and really working hard to meet hard demands and sort of keeping that going, doing their best, they could come into some sort of fortune right now, but they really would have earned it, and earned it the hard way, which is wonderful. Whereas these people who have been sort of kidding us along or doing things behind our backs, they could suffer some sort of loss. When fairness is resolved and justice is no longer delayed, it has to be done, and that will be because we are going to have to set the record straight right now, because Libra, where the new moon was 2 days ago, does rule peace and partnership, love and marriage, but it rules the law and all legal contracts as well, and that's where the emphasis will be, on the rule of law and setting the record straight. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, I think since there are no planets in any of the fire signs, there's nothing in your sign, Leo or Sagittarius, so there's actually no support for the fire signs right now. And so you're on your own, Aries. And because the new moon 2 days ago, along with the Sun and Mercury in Libra, were opposing your sun sign, and Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn are squaring your sun sign, it means there are 5 planets in cardinal signs, but they are in harsh aspect to your sign, and there's no support for your sign. So I'm sorry to say, Aries, if you are in any kind of a partnership deal or matter, or you are involved in any kind of a legal dispute, or not even a dispute, but any kind of legal matter or contract matter, you may not win right now, Aries. And so you would be wiser to agree to conform to other people's demands right now. And if you do lose some issue that has to do with fairness or balance, I think that you may have no recourse and no appeal. So don't be disappointed if that happens right now. You could think of it as a setback, but you're certainly going to have a good year next year, Aries, so keep your mind on that instead. All right, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, it's wonderful that there are strong planets in the earth signs, because after all, Uranus in your sign is being beautifully trined by Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, and together those 3 planets are trining the sign of Virgo. So on the one hand, it is possible that if you have been working really hard and meeting high expectations and responding positively to other people's strong demands, which might not be easy, but if you've been doing it, you could come into a fortune, Taurus, because you would have earned it. So if you've been doing everything right, I think you are going to gain financially right now. But if, on the other hand, you have been doing things behind the scenes which can now be revealed, you may have to suffer for that and make some sort of adjustment, particularly to a financial setback. And the reason why is that Mars in Aquarius, which is well backed up by the new moon, is squaring Uranus in your own sign, which rules sudden surprising change. And also Venus, your own ruler, and Jupiter in Scorpio are opposing that Uranus in your sign. So you may face at least some higher financial costs right now, either in taxes or in the cost of credit or having to repay a loan, something like that. So I don't know if you've been just working your heart out right now, because if you have, there might be a nice bonus or reward for that. Or if you have been doing something a little differently behind the scenes, because then you'll have to pay for that instead. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, all along I've been telling you that with the Sun in Libra and Mercury, your own ruler, in Libra, you should have gotten some good legal news or good partnership news. Well, now the moon is in Libra as well, under the new moon that occurred 2 days ago, and they're trining your sun, and so is Mars in Aquarius. So 4 planets in air signs all trining your sun, one of which includes your ruler, simply means that if you haven't had that good legal or partnership news, which I think you may have just gotten it, but if you haven't, it sure is on its way, Gemini. And it doesn't have to be about you, but it could be of great benefit to you. Okay, it could be about somebody else or something else, but it's going to work out pretty well for you, Gemini, anyway, which is good. So I think that unless you've been doing something behind the scenes that now comes out into the open that had been hidden for a while, and so fairness would have to result, I think even so you would probably win some sort of legal argument, or you'd have a favorable legal settlement now anyway, Gemini, because of the strength of these planets in air signs. There's only one planet that is adversely affecting your sun, and that is Neptune in Pisces, which is activated right now in a way that can be exposing the hidden truth behind the scenes in an effort to reestablish fairness and justice. And that, so it can be some people around you that are going to be worried about their hidden agenda being exposed right now, because there'll be a price for that. But I still don't think that that will reflect negatively upon you unless you were a participant. But in the end, I think legal news is going to be very good right now. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, the new moon in Libra 2 days ago, with the sun and the moon and Mercury there, were all squaring your sun. So there can be a matter that you're involved with, Cancer, that involves setting the record straight. And you may be involved in that directly or somewhat indirectly in some way. And so you sort of have to face a legal matter right now, or a partnership issue. And Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn are still opposing your sun sign. So those are 5 planets in the cardinal signs that are adversely affecting your sun sign. But the new moon is about setting a record straight right now. I think that is going to happen. And I think actually, Cancer, that you are going to be very much in favor of that. And in fact, you may even know some things that have been going on behind the scenes that could be exposed now as the truth is revealed. And you would be very much in favor of seeing that fairness is restored, that the record is set straight, and that justice will not be delayed any longer, that it will be done. And that is because Venus and Jupiter in Scorpio are trining your sun, and so is that Neptune in Pisces. So if you are instrumental in helping to set the record straight, I think that you would certainly be doing that for the right reasons, and that it would be a big help to others. And it is not going to adversely affect you. It's just something like a job that's got to be done. But I think it's going to work out well for you, and that you will have a very clear conscience in helping with that. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, there are no planets in the fire signs, remember, so there isn't any support coming from other planets right now for your sign. And so, are you in the win column or the lose column, Leo? I'm not sure about that right now, but the new moon in Libra, along with the sun and Mercury, were sextiling your sun. That is pretty positive. That means, since a sextile represents opportunities, it means that you could have an opportunity to help set the record straight on something. And that it could be that it's important that you do that, because it could involve a legal matter. Well, it might help the legal matter, it might help you win a legal matter if you do set the record straight right now. And the reason why that has to be done is because something that has been a deception or an omission or a hidden plan behind the scenes will be revealed. And when it is revealed, it perhaps is something that is either going to help you set the record straight, or else it could be that when it does come out, even if you have been deceived yourself, it means that you could be facing some sort of financial fallout from that. And that is, so you may have to make some sort of necessary adjustment. And that's because Mars in Aquarius is opposing your sun sign, and it's well backed up. And Uranus in Taurus is squaring your sun sign, and so are Venus and Jupiter in Scorpio, and all of those planets are being activated right now and backed up. So I think maybe you are facing some sort of financial problem, but if you help set the record straight, it could ease your problem a little bit. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time when you can be, if you are not a person who's participating in setting the record straight, you can certainly be approving that process right now, because that means that some truth can be exposed that's been hidden behind the scenes. The problem is with Neptune in Pisces opposing your sun sign, Virgo, and your sun sign is well aspected. There are planets in the other earth signs trining your sun. But because Neptune is opposing it, it simply means that you could be very disappointed in someone once the truth comes out. In other words, they may have skillfully misled you for quite a while. And so you may have to face a disappointment, but at the same time, that new moon was right ahead of your sun sign, and it involved your ruler. So the sun, moon, and Mercury were in Libra right ahead of your sun sign, sextiling your sun, and Venus and Jupiter in Scorpio are also sextiling your sun sign, and you've got planets trining your sun sign. I think you're in the winner's circle, Virgo, and it can be that you gain financially right now because you've earned it, from doing things really right and from keeping at it, being very steady and not shirking your duty in any way. So congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, the new moon was in your sign 2 days ago, and it is a strong one, and it's well backed up because Mars in Aquarius was trining the sun, moon, and Mercury in your sign. You sure got the law on your side, Libra. You really do. And that means that if there's any controversy or tension or dealings with arrogant people who may be imposters or pretenders, then they are going to have to make some sort of legal settlement or respond to some efforts after maybe even losing or facing some sort of financial setback right now. I think you're going to do okay. The one thing you still have to contend with, though, is that Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn are squaring your sun. Saturn's very strong, it rules that sign, and that means you're still going to have to work your hardest to do things that other people are demanding of you. But you're going to have a lot of energy. You're probably going to really succeed because that Mars in Aquarius is trining your sun. So by following the letter of the law and doing exactly the right legal thing right now, you really could be in the winner's circle, Libra, and that would be good. You probably deserve that. And so I think you're going to be pretty happy about some announcement or some settlement or even a partnership issue that is finally resolved and works out in your favor. Congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, Venus is now retrograde in your sign. It's being exactly trined by Neptune, which is retrograde in Pisces, and Jupiter is in your sign as well. And the sun, new moon, and Mercury in Libra 2 days ago were right behind your sun sign. They're sort of backing you up right now, Scorpio. And yet there are problems that you have to face. Most of them are financial. And so it can be that by setting the record straight on a legal matter, somewhat behind the scenes, you could maybe mitigate some financial losses right now. And the reason why you may be facing them is because as the truth comes out, if you have been involved in a deception or some sort of omission or some hidden plan behind the scenes, then you're going to be sort of in the loser column, not the winner's column, even though you have 2 good planets in your sign, Venus and Jupiter. And the reason why is that Mars, your own ruler, is in Aquarius, squaring that Venus and Jupiter. And Uranus in Taurus, which is the other fixed financial sign, is opposing that Venus and Jupiter. There are some very harsh aspects to your sun sign right now, Scorpio, and they've been there for a while, and they're going to stay there. And so I don't know if you're in the winner's column or the loser's column right now, but I think that you probably will have to make some sort of legal settlement or adjustment behind the scenes, which possibly you can do, that may mitigate a financial loss right now due to whatever was going on behind the scenes. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, there aren't any planets in any of the fire signs, so I don't think that your sign has a lot of support right now. But on the other hand, it doesn't have as many planets challenging it either. In fact, there's only one. Neptune in Pisces is squaring your sun, which means that you haven't known who to trust. Well, you may be finding out the hard way right now, and that is because that Neptune is activated and well supported by Venus and Jupiter in Scorpio. They're all trining each other, and because Venus is also retrograde, it means that the truth is going to be revealed, and it could be about a deception behind the scenes or even a whole hidden plan that finally comes out. And you know, I hope that you're just a bystander. What I think the effect of all of that will be, since the new moon in Libra along with the Sun and Mercury were sextiling your sun, that's a good aspect, and so are Venus and Jupiter right behind your sun sign. I think that that will enlighten you as the truth comes out now, and there's winners and losers. You may not be in either of those categories. You may not be a winner or a loser, but you are certainly going to be more enlightened and perhaps more inspired to see that fairness is done by setting the record straight and upholding it. And so vicariously, I think it's going to do you some good. And some people who had been misleading you might get caught right now, and that too could do you some good. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time when you have to sort of face a partnership or a legal matter. It doesn't mean that it's a bad one, but you do have to face it and maybe set the record straight in one way or another. So that could involve some sort of challenge right now to you, because Saturn and Pluto in your sign were being squared by that powerful Sun, new moon, and Mercury in Libra. Okay, so that's 5 planets in cardinal signs, and one of them is your sign. And so I think that what you're going to have to do is really work a little bit harder on some legal issue or partnership issue that hasn't quite been resolved yet, but it will be, okay? And Mars in Aquarius is right ahead of your sun sign, and that is an energetic planet that's trining the new moon. So I think that after you have thought things over real carefully and really sort of reviewed terms on something, that you can work on that, and it could work out rather favorably for you. This may also involve some financial matter. And if it's a financial matter in one way or another, it could work out in your favor as long as you're real careful with the paperwork right now. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, that new moon 2 days ago with the Sun, Moon, and Mercury in Libra is doing you a world of good, Aquarius, because that means the law is on your side. Those were really strong planets. They include the lights, and they're in the sign that rules the law. And so all of them are trining Mars in your sign. Now that Mars is under duress right now, and I think you have been working on a few problems lately, and they may not have been resolved, but it looks like they're going to be. And so Aquarius, I think that not only is the law on your side, but you're going to win some legal setback or some legal argument, or even just a settlement of some kind. I think you're going to win it, Aquarius. So that's not the problem. The problem is that Mars in your sign is squaring the planets in the financial signs. So it's squaring Uranus in Taurus and Venus and Jupiter in Scorpio, and that simply means that a financial matter, a pending financial matter or an investment matter or a funding matter, that hasn't been resolved. But a legal issue, I think you're certainly in the winner's circle on that. Congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time with Venus and Jupiter trining your sun that you could be instrumental in revealing the truth about something or learning about a hidden plan behind the scenes. And with that new moon emphasizing fairness and the fact that justice can no longer be delayed, it has to be done, it might be you that is instrumental in bringing the truth forward in one way or another. And you may even do that sort of inadvertently without even realizing that you're doing it, because Neptune is retrograde in your sign, and it is trining Venus, which is retrograde now in Scorpio, the sign of justice, and Jupiter is there as well. If you've been kidding, now Neptune is a planet that lets us kid ourselves. If you've been kidding yourself about something or someone, I think that you are going to have the truth revealed to you. And when that happens, I think that's going to change an issue that has to do with fairness and justice. And it's going to also affect you financially one way or another. So if you've been involved in a hidden plan or something going on behind the scenes and you get caught, that could affect you with a financial setback. Or if someone else has been involved in that, that could disillusion you, and they would have to pay for that. So it sort of depends on what you've been doing lately, Pisces, because there aren't any other planets squaring or opposing your sun sign. So if you've been on the side of the angels, I think you're really going to be rewarded for doing the right thing. But if you're disillusioned by discovering the truth about somebody who's been misleading you, that too is a blessing in disguise. That should be the way you look at it, because then you'll finally know the truth. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see our show and read our blog and hear our podcast on our website, starborninstitute.org.